Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of my answers to your guys' questions. I'll just get started. The next one up was from Absolute Sublime 1. First question was what favorite Doctor Who episode. I'm gonna do it twofold, kind of say what my favorite classic series and new series one is. Classic series is one of Patrick Troughton ones called Tomb of the Cybermen, which was a really well done episode. It has few of my favorite lines that are used in Orbital Song, their techno live version of the Doctor Who theme. But yeah, it was a very good episode. I'm not going to get into it because a lot of these episodes I don't want to spoil, though it may seem with the next one I might be spoiling it, but this is like the reason it's my favorite episode, and that's for the new series, and that is series 2 episode called School Reunion. That's when I had seen Christmas Invasion and New Earth, and I was already just falling fast for David Tennant as the Doctor, but this was the episode that did it, because there was a moment in the episode. This one is particularly famous because it brings back a famous companion of the Doctor's, and that, of course, is Sarah Jane Smith, played by Elizabeth Sladen, who worked with John Petrie's Doctor and, of course, Tom Baker's Doctor. And there was a moment where Giles, the guy from Buffy, is introducing her, and the Doctor turns around and his face just goes like that. And I don't think David was acting at all, because he just broke out with this huge smile, and I'm thinking, nope, he's not acting, he's just going with it, because anybody who watches Doctor Who knows that David Tennant is the biggest fanboy of the show since he was a kid. And of course, to act next to one of your heroes that you basically grew up as a child watching was great. And I think that did it. That made me fall head over heels in love with David Tennant's Doctor, and him, basically. And it was my favorite episode. Everything about that, because he seemed like, he is a total fanboy. I think that's why a lot of us fans love him, he is a fanboy. But how jubilant and how giddy and how happy he was throughout the whole episode. Like, he's like that in a lot of Doctor Who episodes, but this was just so to the extreme because of Sarah Jane Smith. So, yeah. Number 2 is, what is the movie you watched the most? Oh, hold on. Oh god, that is a very long list, because Superman, Star Trek 2. I'm just going by the ones I watched as a kid. E.T., Godzilla 1985, the Star Wars movies, the Indiana Jones movies. It's just way too many. The Goonies is probably the one I watched the most, because I would always go, watch, rewind, watch, rewind. So, thanks to Absolute Sublime 1 for those. And next one is Mr. Ramon 420. What's the most fucked up film you've ever seen? Well, it's definitely not Cannibal Holocaust or Sallow, because I watched those and I was like, okay. I won't say Dead Girl, Inside, or Human Centipede, because I own those, but I haven't watched those yet. But the one that I always, and I might get laughed at, because there are a lot of fans who love this movie, and anybody who knows me knows I love this particular film by Paul Anderson. And that, of course, is Event Horizon. I always thought that was the most fucked up movie I'd ever seen. But then again, I don't know if you're talking about any type of movie in general or the horror genre, but I'm just going to say the horror genre. I saw that when I was 16. I was 16 years old when that came out in the theater back in August of 97. And I remember just being on edge, and especially some of the visuals, particularly Jack Noseworthy's character. That part freaked me out in the airlock. And of course, what we saw, that 20-second scene of what happened to the last crew. To a 16-year-old who had been watching horror films since she was 6 and watching slasher films the whole time, that just fucked me up. I thought that was, especially, like, I've never seen shit like that before. Like, particularly that scene with the guy shoving his whole arm down his throat. I was like, and what disturbed me more is that this woman sitting just a couple of seats down from my mother and I, she had her two 10-year-old kids with her, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing bringing two 10-year-olds to see this? But then again, I was watching horror films when I was 6, but I mean, like Friday the 13th, that doesn't have anything as disgusting as Event Horizon did. So I actually have always wondered what happened to those two kids. Are they so fucked up now? But yeah, that would be it. And like, I think like I haven't seen Serbian film. Oh, I don't know. You know which one I'm talking about. And I don't know, well, then again, I had the same thing about Cannibal Holocaust. I was, like, so hesitant, and then I watched it, and I was so bored by it, so I don't know how I feel towards a Serbian film, but I will check that out and let you know if I think that is, but I kind of doubt it. Number 2, what is your least favorite Doctor from the series? That I actually can't answer, because when I finished my, series watching last year, I'm rewatching them this year, but I only had 3 Peter Davison stories, 5 Colin Baker ones, and 2 Sylvester McCoy ones. So I can't, and I know a lot of people do not like Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, or even Paul McGann, who was in the TV movie, but the ones that I saw, that I owned with those 3 in particular, I liked, so I don't really have a least favorite. I know some people are probably thinking I'd say Matt Smith, but no, I liked him. I think when I rewatched a few episodes, I was like, well, nah, because I think he does get a lot of shit for coming off the fantastic run that David Tennant had, and you know how David was so popular and so beloved as the character, but I think this went with like Patrick Troughton, John Petrie, Tom Baker, and Peter Davison. It was the same thing. But particularly the Christmas Carol, the Christmas special, I thought was fantastic. Though the shark thing was a little out there, but it's Doctor Who. Everything is so out there. So I don't have a least favorite. Like, even though Paul McGann only did 1 episode, I thought, and the movie, it was okay. It wasn't as bad as everybody said, but I thought he was fantastic as the Doctor. And it was kind of bad that the movie didn't get picked up, because I would have loved to seen him. Because if any of you who are fans of the show know that it seems like from the time the movie came out to the time the new series started, it's somewhere in between that time war where it was between the Time Lords and the Daleks happened. I would have fucking loved to seen that. Okay, so thank you, Ramon420, for those. Next one up, I know I'm going to get this wrong, but Vampirus Jarrett666, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. It's like, what is your most sought after DVD you do not have? Ooh. I'd have to say any Steelbook I don't have. But yeah, any Steelbook. Particularly the one I am trying to bid on eBay. I am not saying what, but it is a German release of the film in Steelbook. But yeah, it's mostly the Steelbooks. Because I know they got some neat ones over there in Germany and the UK that I would love to have. And one particular one I would love to get, but God knows how much it is in our money from yen, is this awesome Godzilla thing that has all the films. It's like about this long. It comes with a book, and it has like a statue of his head. And last time I checked, that was about 80,000 yen, and God only fucking knows how much that is in our money, in Canadian money, so I'd have to say the Steelbooks or the Godzilla thing, but there's no way in hell I'd ever get that. Okay, from Jamie, she couldn't think of anything to ask, so what's my favorite flavor ice cream? Well, it's probably the only non-movie one I've gotten. Or only 2 or 3. Chocolate, of course, but I am a sucker for mint chocolate chip and cookies and cream. Those are like my, my comfort food, in a way. It's not an odd question, hon, so don't worry about it, but thanks for that. And the last one is from Paul2877. Number 1 is, what is your favorite John Carpenter film? I know everybody's gonna think I'm gonna say Halloween, Escape from New York, or even Big Trouble in Little China. It's Starman with Jeff Bridges, which introduced me to John Carpenter when I was only 4. But so I know, Justin, you have not seen that, and you have to see it. It's a science fiction movie, but it's a great one. But yeah, and it's funny enough, that's the only John Carpenter movie that's got an Oscar nomination, and it was for Best Actor for Jeff Bridges. But yeah, that is my favorite. I know everybody can bitch and moan about Halloween and Escape from New York, but that's my pick, so. Number 2, do I like Rush? Or is it a stereotype saying that all Canadians like them? I'd have to say yes, that's a stereotype, because I only like 1 or 2 songs by them, because there is actually not a hell of a lot of Canadian artists I really am huge fans of, except for one, and that is the Tragically Hip. Yeah, there's, like, I do like Bryan Adams, but am I a huge fan? Not really. Same as with the Guess Who. It's kind of funny, they have the best Canadian song of all time, and it's called American Woman. But yeah, that's kind of a big stereotype that, and it's the same as with Canadian movies or shows. So, yeah. What is the most overrated movie you've seen? There is a lot. God, I can't even think of one on the top of my head. Actually, I can, but I'm gonna say it, and you guys can bitch at me all you want, but I always thought, like, Godfather, 2001, and Taxi Driver were overrated. They weren't ones that I particularly liked. They were ones that, had this huge thing to them, like everybody's saying how fucking fantastic they are, and I watched them, and I was bored. I was bored out of my fucking mind. And I gave The Godfather so many tries, and I just found it boring. Same as with Blade Runner. So, there's just a lot of movies that you guys like that I hate, but then again, there's probably a lot of movies that I love that you guys hate. But that's us being movie fanatics. We agree to disagree. So, and I love his question 4, which is, what is your favorite Forever Knight episode? That is Be My Valentine from Season 2, because I'm such a Nick Knight and Natalie Lambert fanatic. And then, on a note, that's where I got my 1228 from, because that was the year this character was turned into a vampire. If you don't know, Forever Knight is this awesome. It is a Canadian vampire show, but it's one of the best. It's a cult show that happened in the 90s. This was before Buffy and before Angel, so if you haven't watched it, check it out. And the last question is, do you read Superman comics? If so, what's your favorite story? That is the weird thing, because I love comic book movies, but I have never read a comic book. I read graphic novels, but I don't read comic books. I never felt I had to read the comic books to understand the films. So, but I will tell you, I would love to read The Death of Superman. But that, I guess that's like something you'd have to pay a lot of money to actually try to find. So yeah, that's actually the last question, and that brings the end to my part 2. Thanks, guys, for all your questions. So, don't know what else to say, because I'm actually feeling quite hot right now. You can probably tell my whole face right here is red. So yeah, I did finish a film series, so my next video will be film reviews of this particular film series. I'm not saying what, but anybody who's been on Facebook or Twitter probably know which one it is. So yeah, guys, that's it. Again, thanks for all your questions. I hope you have a good weekend, watch a shitload of movies, and of course, as always, rate, comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.